Michelob Ultra Tuscan Orange Grapefruit. My God, America is imploding.
What's up, bitches? Welcome back to Fanzone Debate. I am Kaleb Koho, and I am here to bring you the most important event that we have going on today in Fanzone, and that is the title is on the line. It's going to be a great debate. Tim, the Hulk Brzakala, who has won it and never let it go, is defending once again from Jacoby Bancroft. No hard feelings. My parlay teammate for life. It's going to be a great debate, but I also have some pretty fantastic people here to help me judge, starting with two-time challenger Robert Parker. How are you doing, Robert?
I'm doing lovely, Kaleb. How are you?
I am frazzled, but I'm here.
You're hiding it very well. I'm excited to get this going.
Awesome. And then we'll go over to our fellow judge who's had a great season in Fanzone, Andrew, the Dive Barr, star of Creed 2. How are you doing?
I'm good. I made a chart for the players to memorize. Make the better argument, beat the other guy.
Absolutely correct. I would absolutely mess that chart up. But we'll go ahead. We'll bring in our fighters today. We'll start with the challenger to give the champion a little extra time. Jacoby, the Barbarian Bancroft, you made it. You made it all the way to the title match. What's going through your mind right now as we get ready to start?
The biggest thing right now is that you're right. Barr's chart is confusing. It looks like I have to beat the other guy first and then make a better argument, and I don't know how I'm going to do that. So now I was already at like a really, really intense nervous level, and now that just throws me over. So thanks for that. Other than that, excited and nervous to be here. I get terrified of debating, and I like debating, and Tim's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. We've said his name a couple times already. We say it 3 times. He appears. Tim, the Hulk Brzakala, the champion, is in the building. How are you doing? Are you prepared to defend again? Thoughts going through your mind in this match?
I'm going to throw up because Jacoby's really good. I would like to say, though, that 2 people on this judging team are people that I've beaten in title matches, and I would like if the judges would not use that against me today. I have no
ill will to either because both have beaten me by knockout.
I know you wouldn't do that, but yes.
He wouldn't do that, but on the other hand,
I beat him twice, so he's a little extra. No, I'm excited about this. If there's I barely won the last time. Like, Nick almost had me. So, like, I've always said it from the beginning. Like, I wanted to win it, defend it once, and then whatever happened, happened. So, that's the same thing that's going to happen today is if Jacoby beats me, we have a new champion, and that's exciting. And if I win, then whoop-de-doo.
Fair. A lot of pomp and circumstance to the whoop-de-doo. But with that, we'll go ahead. We'll get into the main rounds of debate. But first, let's fight, folks. All right, so
I should have chose that joke.
So how this is going to work, you're each going to get a 1-minute opening, starting with the person who drafted the question. You'll each get your opening, then we'll go into a 5-minute free-form debate. I will show up on screen to give you the 1-minute warning and then to count you down. Then you have 1-minute closings as well, going in the reverse order of how we did in the openings. We got 5 of those, and at the end of the 5, if we are still undecided, we go to speed rounds. So, any questions as we get into the main rounds of debate? And the first question.
No.
All right. Then your
I was not paying attention. Yes.
Valid. All right. Then your first category that was drafted is the world of comedy movies. Mr. Tim Brzakala has done so. Your question is, what is the funniest joke in the Ted movies? As he has specifically drafted Ted and Ted 2. So, the funniest movie in the Ted movies. Tim, you drafted the category. You'll be going first. 1 minute for your opening. Time begins when you start talking.
The Ted franchise, the first 2 movies, they're all about this relationship between Johnny and Ted. And the funniest moments come from their relationship. You get to learn about their relationship, what they like, their dislikes, how they have grown up together, and their friendship. And I think that is best exemplified when Johnny first comes to visit Ted's apartment after he moves out in Ted 1, and he's telling him about this lovely lady that he met at the grocery store, Tammy Lynn. But first, he says, white trash name, guess. And Johnny says, Brittany. No. And then they just go, and he's, don't fuck with me. And Johnny just rattles off all these names. It's hilarious. This is a moment that also exemplifies Mark Wahlberg as a comedic actor. He's hilarious in the scene. Flashing back to Ted just shaking his head, no. And then is it anything with the Lynn after it? Yeah, so I got you, motherfucker. It's hilarious.
Time. All right, so we'll go over to Jacoby. 1 minute for your opening. Time begins when you start talking.
The absolute funniest joke in Ted 2 is the whole Amanda Seyfried's eyes look like Gollum bit. You know, when they're in the diner, her character Sam asks if she has fuck me eyes, to which Ted replies, no, you have give us the ring, my precious eyes. It is such a great laugh out loud moment because it does what Ted does best. It goes there. It makes you go, oh shit, someone actually called Amanda Seyfried Gollum to her face. And you know what? He's absolutely right. It's not just a vague pop culture reference. It's a pop culture reference that's intelligent and accurate and is told with perfect timing and highlights Seth MacFarlane at his best. And that's not all. This joke has an even funnier payoff later in the movie where Sam comes face to face with someone in a Gollum mask. The timing of that scene is so perfect because there's this mad, crazy fight going on. And the moment where Amanda Seyfried makes a face of horrid realization when she sees someone in a Gollum mask and finds out that is true, it's a great callback to a great joke. So it's absolutely the funniest joke in the Ted movies.
Time. All right. He gave up about 0.27 seconds. All right. So we will go ahead get to the main round of the debate. 5 minutes, gentlemen. Go for it.
So my biggest issue with your choice, which you said it, is it's a big pop culture reference, and that's true. The Ted movies have a lot of, like, the jokes are either pretty much just like gag, gross out humor between Johnny and Ted, or pop culture references. And especially Ted 2 is filled with pop culture references, and there's so many more that are just funnier than this one. Everybody knows Amanda Seyfried's eyes are big. It's a joke that's been made many, many times. This wasn't the first thing to do it. This isn't the first thing to do it. Sure, it's funny because Gollum, and we see it at the end, but it's in the middle of this like huge, bombastic, terrible ending. If we're being honest, the ending of Ted 2 is awful, and this is just thrown in as kind of like a, oh, let's remember this back, but it's not as funny as the other pop culture references in Ted 2.
See, I would actually argue that I would prefer a pop culture reference than a low-hanging joke, low-hanging fruit joke, which is what your joke is. Your joke is basically the equivalent of like, hey, you know, like white girls like pumpkin spice lattes. Isn't that hilarious? That's not funny. That's very base level humor. That's not really great. It doesn't capture what Ted is about. And no, it's not just a simple pop culture reference. Yes, Amanda Seyfried's eyes are big in this movie. And yes, people have made that joke before. But what makes it funny is that someone is actually saying that to her face directly, and we get to see her response to that. It's that, oh shit, Seth MacFarlane actually did that. And that's what captures the heart of and the spirit of these Ted movies so well. And you talk about how my editing is off. Your whole joke structure is off. They ruin the punchline of your joke with I'll speak. But I think your punchline of your joke is ruined, and the whole structure of it is wrong.
I'm not saying that the editing is off. What I'm saying is it's just thrown in. I actually like the setup of your joke. The bring me the precious eyes. That's a funny moment, but your choice is also the payoff. And I don't think the payoff is 100% there because it's thrown in to an ending where so much else is going on. And I just think that compared to other pop culture references in there, like Ted Clubber Lang, the Jurassic Park weed, Liam Neeson doing the Tricks Are for Kids, Tom Brady, the Star Wars guys at the crosswalk. There's just so many other funny, memorable moments, whereas this one has a memorable beginning, but the payoff isn't great. And I think that I look at the Ted movies, and the relationship between Johnny and Ted is what is the most important thing at the center of these movies. And that white trash name moment and I think the payoff you're referring to is him just going, Tammy Lynn, fuck that moment. I think it's hilarious. It shows Mark Wahlberg's ability at comedy and also shows the subtleties of Ted as a character just sitting there going, nah. And it's not just a white girl, it's the white girl trash name. I think it's hilarious, whereas yours is just another pop culture thing mixed in with every other pop culture thing.
See, but it's also a better pop culture thing because it's actually related directly to character. Your references to pop culture things are things that happen just randomly and off to the side. Like how you say this is the relationship between, these characters themselves. This is a pop culture reference that's actually biting to the character, and they get to talk about the relationship between Sam and Mark Wahlberg's Johnny overall as they kind of begin their kind of flirtatious sort of thing and whatever that is that they have. You're saying that my payoff is thrown in there. That's what Ted does best. It's the fact that the payoff where Amanda Seyfried actually sees a Gollum mask and makes a look at where she looks exactly like Gollum is so great in that scene because it is this mad, crazy fight where everyone's fighting each other in super epic and super action. And all of a sudden, you have that one brief payoff to the moment you go, oh shit, they brought that back. That's hilarious that they do that. And I take issue with the fact that your whole argument stems around the fact that this joke stems around the relationship because it's true. It is a great exemplifying of the relationship. The problem is it's not funny. The question is funniest joke in the Ted movies, and it has to actually be funny to do that. It's a great character moment between the two. I just don't think it's very funny.
It's absolutely funny. It's one of the and being what's funny to one person might not. Funny is very subjective. But if you ask people, hey, have you seen Ted? What are moments you remember? That is a moment that is rattled off often because people remember it for being so funny in the movie. But again, the pop culture references that that you talk about of Gollum being there and her seeing Gollum, again, it might be funny, but there are other funnier moments in your own movie. The whole Tom Brady bit is a giant pop culture reference that is so much funnier than anything with the Gollum.
See, but I just even think my joke is absolutely funnier than your joke, which isn't funny at all because you're insulting the pop culture aspect of my joke. At least my joke actually makes sense. It is actually an appropriate setup, zinger, everything. Your joke, Mark Wahlberg gets mad at telling Ted for telling him the answer before he guessed it. But wouldn't it have been funnier if Tammy was the first or second name that Mark guessed? Right now, Tammy is named 22 out of 50, right in the middle. So we don't even know that Mark Wahlberg actually named that.
Time. All right, we're going to go to closing arguments, starting with Jacoby. 1 minute before your closing time begins when you start talking.
Tim, Caleb, Robert, Nick, Brian, Cody, Maggie, Doug, Tony, Ethan, Andrew, Sean, Scott. You see what I'm doing? I'm listing a ton of names. Isn't that hilarious? Don't let the simple gag of Mark Wahlberg talking super fast distract you from the fact that at its core, Tim's joke isn't that funny. It's basic low-hanging fruit that ruins its own joke by having this poor structure and operating in this distinct place where it goes on for too long, but also not long enough for it to come back around and be truly funny. Instead, focus on my hilarious joke that works on so many levels. It's one of the best one-liners in the movie. It represents the type of funny and biting humor we want from Seth MacFarlane. Unlike Tim's joke, which isn't entirely accurate because not all the names are actual white trash names, my joke is extraordinarily accurate by saying Amanda Seyfried looks like freaking Gollum. And it has an even better payoff later in the movie, which only adds to it. Everything about my joke is funnier from start to finish. So that's why my joke is the funniest in the Ted movies.
All right, seeing about 4 seconds on that one. We'll go to Tim. 1 minute for your closing time begins when you start talking.
All of Ted is low-hanging fruit. Literally all of it. Both movies is all low-hanging fruit, funny pot humor. That's all it is. That's all the movies are, including taking a reference like Gollum and making it funny for us, like the people like me who like that sort of thing. That being said, though, the funniest moment isn't a moment that has nothing to do with Ted or with Johnny. It has to do with Ted and Johnny, and that is the moment in Ted with the white trash girl names, because it exemplifies Mark Wahlberg as a comedic actor. It shows the relationship of them being best friends, stoners together, hanging out, smoking, and having fun and talking about their lives. Those are the funniest moments in the movie. Of course, it's low-hanging because all Seth MacFarlane stuff is low-hanging. Yours is just another pop culture reference in a movie filled with pop culture references that doesn't even pay off that well as good as
time. All right. Whoo boy. It's
one down.
We are 1 round in, and I am already having to make hard decisions. All right, judges.
Quick question.
Yes.
Can I hear the question again?
Yes, sir. What is the funniest joke in the Ted movies?
Okay.
So judges, write down who you are voting for on your whiteboard or on your piece of paper, whatever you have. I'm stalling myself because I'm not sure who I'm voting for. Okay. I'll go ahead. Everybody all good?
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll go ahead and start. I'm slightly leaning Jacoby. I think Jacoby did a really good job of setting up why his joke was funny all the way through and also tearing down why Tim's didn't necessarily work as well. So slight margin going to go Jacoby. Barr, where are you leaning and why?
So this actually went back and forth for me a lot because a couple things happened in this match. But not only did Jacoby break down a little bit better why the humor works, but his opening, like when he actually said it, it made me laugh. So I just kind of remember that joke more because of that. So Jacoby.
Okay, and Robert, your vote will not be tallied in, but where would you lean?
I would have gone with Tim on this one. I really liked his counter that the whole all of the movies are low-hanging fruit, that the Gollum reference, while it is character-driven, it's also in a movie where there's other pop culture stuff that is also character-driven, and I thought his argument for the white trash names, exemplifying the humor of the entire series as a whole while still being funny, was a really good argument, so I went for Tim there.
All right, so with that, Jacoby will get the first point, 1-0, as we get to the second question, which comes to you from the movie Midnight in Paris. Jacoby giving you a masterpiece of cinema, according to one Kaleb Boatman, and your question is thus, what is the best performance in Midnight in Paris? So we will start with Jacoby. 1 minute for your opening. Time begins when you start talking.
Corey Stoll is the standout performer in Midnight in Paris. His Ernest Hemingway not only dominates every scene he's in with his magnetic charisma that sucks you in and makes you contemplate life and death and manhood, but his take on the character completely embodies the whole idea of what the movie is trying to accomplish. That's the definition of a great performance. This movie is about a man longing to live in the past and meeting some of the greatest artists and novelists of all time. And the movie wouldn't work without performances like Corey Stoll as Hemingway, who represent this era of true artists. The question is about the best performance, and I choose the guy who put in the work to deliver an actual performance, because Stoll isn't just playing Hemingway the person. He's playing Hemingway the way he comes across in his writing, which was a deliberate choice by Stoll, which is 10 times harder than just copying his mannerisms. It's a fantastic approach to the character, and he not only steals absolutely every scene he's in, but he also pushes our main character to rethink his entire life. So yeah, overall, Stoll gives the best performance in Midnight in Paris as Ernest Hemingway.
Time. All right, Corey Stoll. Tim, who is the best performance in Midnight in Paris? 1 minute. Time begins when you start talking.
For my performance, I went with Marion Cotillard. She plays Adriana. The reason I picked her is a lot of actually the same reasons Jacoby picked Hemingway. So this is going to be interesting, but I think that she is the character that actually defines this journey for him, because for Owen Wilson's character, because she's the one that shows him that maybe being in the past isn't the greatest thing, and that being in the present is more important, and that all comes through her performance. She dominates every moment she's in. From the first time they meet and they're sitting and having this conversation about just her life, and he's immediately captivated with her because she is such a captivating character and performance. When they go to the parties, when they go further back into the past, into her golden age, she just exemplifies everything about this era and this time, and that comes across through her performance. And I'll talk about why Corey Stoll is meh in a few minutes.
All right, conceding 2 whole seconds. All right, guys, 5 minutes. Have at it.
I went first last time.
Okay, thank you. My big problem about the Marion Cotillard's performance is that too much of it relies on her being one of the most beautiful women in the world. You say she's just this captivating presence and she's this character who's always there that you can't take your eyes off of. Yeah, that's true. It's because she looks like Marion Cotillard. Her character really does not get a boost until the very ending there. But before that, she is just this cardboard cutout of a French mysterious archetype, and that's what she's supposed to be, because at the end you realize he's actually supposed to be with somebody in his own time. She plays this very non-existent character who you have to fill in the gaps for performances, and I think that's not the best performance in the movie, as opposed to Corey Stoll, who just energizes every scene he's in. You can't take your eyes off him. He is just this force of nature who you listen to what he has to say, and you want to believe it. That is why he gives the best performance.
My problem with Corey Stoll is I think that he's serviceable in the movie, but him, along with a lot of the other supporting characters like Adrian Brody, even Sheen, they all are very one note. He's playing this one level the whole time, and it never really changes to me. There are moments where he's like, telling about his time in the war and his book and stuff, but it's all played at the same level, and it doesn't change at all throughout the movie. Whereas Marion Cotillard, from the moment you meet her to the end of the movie, she has this arc that wouldn't have been capable with a lesser actress. I take issue with you saying that it's just because she's beautiful that she's captivating. No, she's captivating because of the way that she talks to Owen Wilson's character, because of the way that she interacts with the characters around her. That's why she's captivating. And yes, of course she is beautiful, but that's not the main reason you're captivated with her. You're captivated with her because of the way she interacts with everyone else, and that's not possible with a lesser actress or a lesser performance.
I take issue with the fact that you say Corey Stoll is serviceable and you compare him to the other larger-than-life people in this movie. Because, yes, there are larger-than-life people in this movie, like Adrian Brody, like even Gertrude Stein, or even the Fitzgeralds. But the reason why Corey Stoll stands out overall in person is because how impactful he is to the story overall, about how he changes the main character, and he does so in a way. You say that he's one note throughout the way, but if you ever read a Hemingway book, that's exactly how Hemingway's lines read throughout the thing. It is how he talks in very short, monosyllabic, whatever, one-syllable words to get his point across about life, death, art, manhood, and to do that with such a deep sense of longing and depression that's like hiding behind his voice, along with some angry uprises about manhood. That, how dare you call him just serviceable, as compared to Marion Cotillard, who just sits there just kind of like, I'm sometimes a little bit sad. And that's unfortunate. And then her big moment, which the only part where I think she's actually good, is when she has her big epiphany of just like, I want to stay here. But Owen Wilson overshadows that moment like he does throughout the whole movie for her. So she doesn't rise to the occasion as she should in this movie.
I think that this might piss you off, Jacoby, but I don't read books. I watch movies. So if that's the way that his writing is, that's fine and dandy. That also sounds boring as fuck, because his performance, like I said, very one note. That might be how he was in real life, but it doesn't come across well. It doesn't come across well on the screen. Whereas Marion Cotillard, she doesn't just sit there and say, oh, I'm until the end. She's walking around having these conversations the same way everyone else in the movie is. She saves Mrs. Fitzgerald from jumping into the river. She has a beautiful moment with her. That's a great moment. When Owen Wilson wants to continue to walk her home, and she's like, no, I'm going. And then she actually leaves for a while, and you want her to come back. By the time that she actually is full force into the movie, which is mainly like the second half of the film, Corey Stoll, you've forgotten all about him. You don't even care about him or any of the other characters anymore, because you just want to know what's happening with Adriana and Owen Wilson's character, because those are the moments of the movie that are the best, because the two of them are giving the best performance. It's her and then him.
The problem, who's the him? Just really quick.
Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson. Okay, so that's the problem with a lot of her performances. That so much of it is a two-hander with Owen Wilson. All the great scenes that you see is more Owen Wilson's funny reactions and just crazy situations in order to do that with. She does not stand on her own as a performer. Whereas Corey Stoll is his own character, his own crazy, mad-eyed, very serious, very dramatic, very contemplative of life and death and how you want to proceed with how you live the rest of your life. He dominates dominates every scene he's in. He's not in the back half of the movie, yes, but he's still responsible for like the big character push of Gil realizing that his wife is having an affair, and he doesn't even have to be on screen in order for us to hear hear him say the words like, yeah, obviously she's having an affair, because he is such a great performer. He has such a way of speaking where we are so ensconced by the way and the words that he's saying that we can't take our eyes off him.
All right, we are going to go to closing arguments, starting with Tim. 1 minute, time begins when you start talking.
For the judges, I would like to say that Gertrude, yes, he's the one, Corey Stoll's character is the one that gives the information that the fiance is cheating, but Gertrude is the one who says it. He's not even in the scene. Don't let him fool you with that, because Corey Stoll's not performing that moment. He's not in the scene. There are so many other side characters that are better in this movie than Corey Stoll, like Kathy Bates, Leah Sado, Rachel McAdams is fantastic as this crazy fiance. All of these performances are better than Corey Stoll's Hemingway. And at the end of the day, Marion Cotillard brings you from this, what Jacoby pitched of this girl who's shy and quiet and kind of scared about what she is, doesn't really want to be where she is, to this person who's brave enough to go out on her own, who's brave enough to stay in a time that's not hers because it is the time she wants. And she's the one that pushes Owen Wilson's character to get where he needs to be at the end. It's not Hemingway.
Time. All right, so we will go to Jacoby. 1 minute for your closing. Time begins when you start talking.
The question is best performance. And because Cotillard doesn't reach, doesn't overstep, doesn't do anything flashy with beyond being a beautiful woman for Gil to lust after for a short time until the very end, I just don't think that she's the best. So then we turn to the artist. Everyone portraying a famous artist or writer does a standout job, but the one who gives the best performance is Corey Stoll as Hemingway. He's captivating from the very first time you see him on screen. You can't take your eyes off him. And he speaks with such an honest and straightforward authority that you can't help but listen to what he has to say. When I think of Midnight in Paris and I see Cotillard's character, I don't see her character. I even forgot her name. I just see Cotillard. That's all I see. When I see Stoll in the movie, I don't see Stoll. I see Hemingway. And when a performer can do that, that's a truly great performance. And yes, Tim said that that Hemingway is not in that scene with Gertrude Stein. And that's the point. He is such a big presence. He's such a larger-than-life character who gave such a great performance that he doesn't have to be in the scene himself in order for him to have an impact. And that's what makes it a great performance.
Time. Giving up about 0.48 seconds on that one. We'll bring in the judges. This is another very difficult one. All right. Write down who you're voting for. Yeah, Bart. Same. Same.
I have so many notes.
This is so difficult. My emotions.
Gonna go with my gut on this one.
I never wanted to meet LeVar Burton. All right. As everyone has what they're voting for, Robert.
No.
No. You don't? Okay, then never mind. Hold it. Hold. Keep holding. And keep holding. All right. Robert, you did not have your vote count last time, so we'll start with you. Where are you leaning and why?
So in the main argument, this devolved real quick into which character is more impactful on the story. And I just basically threw all that out because it didn't matter. It didn't pertain to the question very much. So we got lost there a little bit, but we got back on track, I think, in both closings. And it really just did come down to the performances, came down to the closings for me. And, well, I don't know, the whole argument about performances. And I decided to go with Tim because I think he really talked about Cotillard's arc and how her character is not just another pretty face. You really see that character progress in time with the story. So I think, I think Jacoby's main argument against Tim's was that she's just another person for Owen Wilson to lust after, just another pretty face. And I think Tim did a really good job of countering that and showing why her performance makes you feel something more than that.
All right, Barr, where are you leaning and why?
These guys took somehow two very different approaches to the question, but very similar ones as well. Whereas Jacoby was talking about like the deep subtleties of the performance. Tim was talking about the naturalistic just like ease of the performance of Cotillard. And I think that Tim just edged out Jacoby's argument with his.
My vote does not count. I also would have gone Tim. I think that this was a nail biter through and through, but I agree with Barr. I think that Tim's approach to the question ended up working a little bit better for him. So we are 1-1 tie game.
Tie game.
Third
Tie
question.
game.
Tie game.
Tie game?
And your third category. Your third category. Can we leave this one in the past for my own sanity? Is drafted by Mr. Tim Brzakala. It's the category of Middle Earth. And your question is, what is the best quote from the Hobbit trilogy? So we will start with Mr. Brzakala. 1 minute. Time begins when you start talking.
My quote for best quote in the Hobbit trilogy is a quote from Gandalf the Grey, performed by Ian McKellen. The quote is, "I have found it is the small everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love." This is in the middle of a larger monologue between him, or dialogue, I guess, between him and Galadriel. The reason I chose this one is this quote encapsulates everything about the Hobbit trilogy, which is what the question's about, but also Middle Earth as a whole. The small everyday things, the small everyday people can do the impossible. It's not just a good quote for the trilogy, it's a good quote overall for life, that you can be this small thing, but through love and kindness, which I'm sure Jacoby will not show me in this fight, will make you prevail, help you succeed, and become the greatest thing Middle Earth has ever seen.
Time. All right. So we'll go to Jacoby. 1 minute for your opening time begins when you start.
At first glance, my quote is a relatively simple one. It's the "I'm going on an adventure" that Bilbo speaks near the beginning of Unexpected Journey. Now, are there more meaningful quotes in the trilogy? Yes, but I truly think my quote is the best from the Hobbit trilogy for a few reasons. For one, it kickstarts the whole adventure. Seeing Bilbo realize that he wants to set out on this epic quest is so exhilarating. This is a hero's journey, and after his refusal of the call, Bilbo excitedly realizes that he wants something more from his life. Yes, that's everything this trilogy stands for: adventure, excitement, going out of your comfort zone and exploring a little bit to find out who you truly are. The Hobbit movies are clearly inferior to the original trilogy because they go on for way too long and are filled with a lot of junk and filler and forced love triangles. But at its core, this was supposed to be a fun adventure. And no quote better exemplifies everything this trilogy started out as, better than hearing the timid Bilbo loudly declare that he's going on an adventure. That quote is the best.
Time. All right. So we will go to 5 minute free form. How about it?
So you just said in your opening that moment is really exhilarating and exciting. That's not because of the quote. That's because of the great direction by Peter Jackson. That score, that moment from Howard Shore, that dun, 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 I can't think of it, I can't do the whole thing, but that moment with the high strings and everything, him running through and everyone going, "Bilbo, where you go?" Those are the moments that are cool. The actual moment is just a trailer moment. It's a meme. It's fun. It's fun for the moment, but other parts of your own moment, quote moment, outshine that. Whereas mine is something that everyone is already kind of thinking. Gandalf just is the one who says it, that the small things are the ones that go on to do the great things through acts of kindness and love. That's what keeps the darkness at bay. That's why it's so impactful throughout the whole trilogy in the saga. Yours is just, woo, we're going on an adventure. It's fun, but it's not the best.
Yes, my quote, but it defines the start of this adventure that we're going to go on. It's the starting point to where the franchise could go, the sense of adventure and the journey that we're going to go on, this unexpected journey that we're going to go on. That is all said in the quote. And yes, everything, the line, the stuff around it exemplifies it, but that just makes it better. It is the best quote coming from that movie overall itself. And I think your quote is good, Tim, but I also think it's a little generic. We see this type of quote everywhere. It's the same meaning as True Detective perspectives. Once there was only dark, but if you ask me, the light's winning. It's the same as Harry Potter's, we've all got light and dark inside us, but what matters is that we choose to act on it. Or one of the million motivational quotes about small acts of kindness that are everywhere. All of those are basically saying the same thing, and you could swap it out and have it mean the same thing. It does nothing for the Hobbit trilogy overall. And you say it's the stuff around it, but you leave out a truly great part of your quote too. The better part of your quote is what Gandalf says after your quote about why Bilbo Baggins is because I'm afraid and he gives me courage. That's the better part of your quote, and you left that out, and I don't know why.
Well, I would have had it in, but I was told I couldn't put the whole monologue when I asked. I was told I couldn't put the whole thing.
So you're missing the middle part of it.
Okay, well, yes, that part of it is also good, and if we're going to be technical, it is part of the same quote if you want to look it up. But I take a big issue with you saying that your quote defines the franchise. That's what you said. It defines the start of the adventure of the franchise. No, it defines the start of Bilbo's journey. Mine literally defines the franchise. Mine literally looks at the franchise as a whole and looks at the main heroes, Bilbo, Frodo, Sam, the main heroes of the stories, and exemplifies it. And in the Hobbit trilogy specifically, also referring to probably even the dwarves, if you want to look at it as well, being small people. This quote exemplifies the franchise as a whole. Going on an adventure is another generic line that Frodo could have said in the Fellowship of the Ring, and we wouldn't have batted an eye. You saying that there's quotes from Harry Potter or whatever the fuck else you said, that doesn't matter. We're not talking about quotes from them. We're talking about quotes from this movie and this franchise.
Yes, exactly. But I'm saying that yours presents its information in a way that's so generic that we've seen it 1,000 times before. It is not to the movies itself. It could be taken out of context. You could see it on a bumper sticker somewhere and not know that it's from The Hobbit. I'm going on an adventure is so embedded in the Hobbit movies overall that it is the best quote from that movie because for what it jumps off to, for what it leads to. You talk about everything around that. Your scene is done in this really cheesy, mood lighting, very quiet, very unassuming way where the music is way too loud and the scene is just overbearing in an already long movie. It is not embodiment of the movie overall because it's not true to the characters. It's not relating to the characters overall. The I'm going on an adventure is so rooted in Bilbo, and Bilbo is the most important character in that movie.
We're not talking about the movie, Jacoby. We're talking about the trilogy. And the trilogy, fine. If you want to say best, if you want to say, most defining Bilbo quote, sure. Maybe. I could probably think of other ones that are actually probably better than that one. And you're also saying that this is intrinsic to Bilbo. Are you telling me we've never seen in another movie the lead character say that he's going on an adventure? Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm saying, of course we've seen it, but it's so
so how is that different than me having other things that are similar?
Sorry,
how is that different than my quote being similar to something that Dumbledore says in Harry Potter?
Because because you haven't seen that in Harry Potter. You haven't seen that anywhere. The I'm going on an adventure is so Hobbit related. Is everything itself. You say it's not about Bilbo, it's about Middle-earth overall. The movies are called The Hobbit. It's about Bilbo Baggins and Bilbo Baggins' journey throughout it. And the thing that starts his journey is the I'm going on an adventure that sets his whole character arc into motion for time.
We are getting to the line fight from me v Tim again. All right. We're gonna go ahead and get closings. We'll start with Jacoby. 1 minute when you start talking.
The best quote in the Hobbit trilogy is, I'm going on an adventure. Yes, it's short. It's unassuming. It's straightforward. But just like hobbits in general, you should not underestimate it. And there's so much more beneath the surface. My quote truly captures the spirit of what these movies were supposed to be like. Because we, the audience, were right there with Bilbo and invested in his journey when he uttered these words. Like Bilbo, we didn't know what dangers or perils lie ahead. We didn't know what tomorrow would bring. We just knew that we had to go on this adventure with him. Tim's quote is a great quote that I could read on a whole list of quotes regarding light and darkness and kindness. It doesn't represent the movie as well as my quote. It doesn't represent Bilbo's journey, which is the Hobbit, as well as my quote. The scene in which he quotes is borders on a little cheesy and doesn't truly include the great part of that speech that really drives that home, which happened at the end of that. So for all of that, and for invoking this joy and excitement that these movies were supposed to produce, my quote is the best quote. I am going on an adventure today, and I am arguing Tim.
Time. We're gonna go to Tim. 1 minute for your closing. Time begins when you start talking.
Once again, Jacoby keeps saying the movie. We're not talking about the best quote from An Unexpected Journey. And even if we were, mine would still be the best because mine is from An Unexpected Journey. But my quote is encapsulating of the entire trilogy. And not just the trilogy as well, but the whole saga. Throw in the animated one too. It still fucking applies. I have found it is the small everyday deeds of ordinary folk that keep the darkness at bay. Small acts of kindness and love. That encapsulates everything about Bilbo, about the main characters of the series that you don't think can go and do these great things, but end up doing them. And Jacoby talks about how we're right there with Bilbo for going on adventure. I'm sorry, but that's 45 minutes into a 3-hour movie and the adventure's just starting. I'm not really with Bilbo at that point. I'm more with Bilbo a little bit later once the movie picks up again. But overall, my quote encapsulates the series and the trilogy way more. Your quote maybe defines the character.
Time. All right. Wowza. All right. So, write down your votes. It's been a great fight so far. Team's just ripping another note up. Another round down.
That was the first one I took notes on. I filled up the whole sheet.
There.
Every time he said something, I was like,
all right. So I went last time, so I'll go first this time. I'm going Tim. I think Tim did a really good job of explaining how his quote is more applicable on the trilogy basis, as per the question. And he kept kind of getting Jacoby tied up in the semantics game of movie, scene, and all that. So I'm leaning towards Tim. Robert, where are you going and why?
There's an ad on my whiteboard thing. Sorry. I also had Tim. I thought it was close. I thought Jacoby's closing was better than Tim's closing. I thought Tim repeated himself a little bit too much in his closing, but overall, the points that were brought up in the main argument, I think Tim just had a really strong control over the debate. I like both quotes. The argument that it could be seen in other places and it wasn't special to the Hobbit trilogy, in my mind, and Tim said it as well, like I don't think that makes it a less good quote. Just because it says interchangeable, that argument didn't really hold a lot of water for me, and that's a lot of what Jacoby's argument focused on. So I went with Tim.
All right. So with that, Tim takes a 2-1 lead. Barr, where would you have leaned and why?
Haha, I got a Hobbit points. That's all.
So I think what Jacoby did was he did two things really well. He compared the quote to other quotes and showed why it's generic, but he also brought up the fact that it's called the Hobbit trilogy and it centers around Bilbo. So I think that he did a really good job of arguing why that quote fits that argument really well.
I forgot to mention that the second movie has the name Smog in it. I should have known that.
Well, all right. We move on to your penultimate question of the main rounds, which was drafted by one Colby Jack Esquire in the category of James Bond, which is, what is the most underrated James Bond film? What is the most underrated James Bond film? So, Jacoby, you drafted the category. You'll be going first. Time begins when you start talking.
When you think of Pierce Brosnan's Bond, here's what you think. GoldenEye is the gold standard of Brosnan Bond films. Then you either really love or really hate World's Not Enough, and then you just really hate Die Another Day. All three of those are in conversation a lot, but that's missing Brosnan's other Bond film, Tomorrow Never Dies. This movie is criminally underrated for a lot of different reasons. It has the best opening sequence that proves why Bond is such a great character. It has a plot regarding media corruption, which back then may have been a little silly, but in today's world and time is incredibly important and relevant. It has some of the better action sequences of any of the Brosnan films, and it has the best Bond girl, Wei Lin, by far, and it's not even close. And for some reason, this movie is incredibly underrated. But if you want a Bond film that walks the line perfectly between gritty and fun without collapsing, that is relevant to today in a way other Bond movies aren't, and to see a Bond girl done right, then you watch Tomorrow Never Dies. Tomorrow Never Dies is the most underrated Bond film.
All right. Seeing about 3 seconds on that one. Tim, 1 minute for your opening. What is the most underrated Bond film?
At least people talk about these movies that Pierce Brosnan was in. Nobody talks about Timothy Dalton and his movies, and that's why my choice is License to Kill. This movie fucking slaps, and nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about this movie at all. Timothy Dalton as Bond in this movie is great. As one of the best Bond villains in Sanchez, Pam Bouvier. You talk about as being one of the best Bond girls. You talked about Michelle Yeoh's character being one of the best one. People like her. She's regarded as one of the better Bond girls. But nobody talks about this story. This is the first time we saw Bond kind of go rogue and out on his own, and that is a story that is so interesting that at the time, it's kind of overdone now. Craig has done it quite a few times, but at the time, we had never seen anything like it. And for some reason, nobody talks about this movie because they're so hung up on the Goldfingers and the Golden Eyes and the Casino Royales and the Skyfalls that this one falls to the wayside, and nobody really talks about it.
Time. All right. 5 minutes. Have at it, folks.
I guess start right.
Yeah, you can.
So I guess overall, my biggest problem, you keep saying over and over that nobody talks about the movie. I thought it was generally accepted that these License to Kill movies are pretty good now. They're very well regarded. They're the blueprint of Daniel Craig's Bond overall. And I'm probably you saying that it's underrated and not like appreciated. Everyone likes License to Kill when they watch it. It's a solid revenge flick. And the thing is, a lot of people like it too. 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. It is a very high scoring Bond film. While Tomorrow Never Dies is one of the only 5 Bond films that's less than fresh, that has a less than fresh rating because people didn't understand it at the time, and it's only getting better appreciation now as it is. You say people all talk about Brosnan movies. They talk about the 3 Brosnan movies. They forget the other one, which is Tomorrow Never Dies. It is the most underrated of any of the movies, of any of the Brosnan movies, by far, and any of the Bond films overall.
I don't think that's true because people talk about Jonathan Pryce. People talk about Michelle Yeoh being great characters in the movie. But overall, your movie is just a serviceable Bond film. I'm not saying it's bad. Don't get me wrong, or I'm not saying it's great or bad or anything, but underrated is a stretch because there are so many other Bond movies that I would say are even more underrated than this one, but not as much as License to Kill. But License to Kill is, like I said, the first time we actually see Bond kind of go rogue, and you said that people watch it now. Yeah, if somebody watches it, they'll go, oh, that's pretty good. But it's nobody's first jump in on James Bond. People, when they talk about James Bond, are going to Connery, or going to Moore, to Craig, to Brosnan. But they're not, and again, we're not talking about the actors, but when you talk about those movies are intrinsically more accepted when you know those actors better. Nobody knows about Timothy Dalton that much, so they might skip out on that movie, whereas they would be more inclined to go watch another one.
We keep I think both of our arguments are hard to prove when we say like people don't talk about this movie. People don't talk about this movie because we were making the same argument for each side. It's hard to prove that sort of thing. I can only say at the time that of the Brosnan Bond films overall, you don't mention Tomorrow Never Dies out of the 3 of them. And I can explain to you the reason of why it's better today and why it was underrated back then, which is because back then the plot was a little silly and it was a step down from GoldenEye's grittiness of it. But the plot of media corruption, of media influencing the news in order to control world events is incredibly more relevant today, and people can connect to more and are more responding to that movie. And great for Bond girls, Wei Lin is totally unrepresented. When you think of Bond spinoff, you think of Jinx from Die Another Day, but Wei Lin also had a spinoff in development that people don't know about as well, and she totally deserved one because she is great from start to finish. She's a better Bond girl than your Bond girl who starts out great and then devolves into that mopey, lovesick Bond girl trope that we all know and love, while Wei Lin stays on top for the best and deserves more recognition.
I'm not saying that she doesn't deserve recognition. And again, I don't think your movie is a bad movie. I think it's a very mediocre, fine Bond movie. That being said, though, the question is underrated, and it's not underrated when it came out. You said Tomorrow Never Dies. Here's why it was when it came out. We're talking about now. And now there's Craig, there's Brosnan, there's Connery, there's Moore. Nobody talks about the 2 Dalton movies. And when you look at License to Kill, it's got one of the best villains in Sanchez. You have one of the best motivators of why can't I think of his freaking name? Felix getting attacked on his wedding day and his wife getting killed, and Bond going out for revenge against his friend. That is so much more exciting than Elliot Carver just kind of standing there behind a computer, pressing some buttons, and it's just it's a better movie overall, and it's underrated because nobody talks about it. When it came out, sure, it might have had a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes. That wasn't a thing. Rotten Tomatoes wasn't a thing when it came out. When it came out, people thought that it was good, but then it was lost. Nobody cares anymore.
I'll admit that the time that it came out, the world wasn't ready for a darker Bond overall. But the problem is that we've seen so much better now. When you watch the Dalton Bond movies, they're good movies, but it's like, oh, I just want to watch any of the Craig movies, which does the gritty Bond taste so much better than License to Kill. The reason why my movie deserves more recognition is because it was underrated at the time, like your movie, how nobody talked about it as much as the movie as it came out, but it is more accessible today. It is better watching today than it was back then because you view it with fresh eyes. You actually see it better. My movie is actually relevant to today, while your movie is just like, oh, yours is good and it's a good movie, but I want to pop in Casino Royale. I want to pop in Skyfall. You say it falls by the wayside. It's because the other movies does it better. My movie actually takes an important issue and makes it better for today. It makes a fun action movie. You call out the scenes in your movies that are great. My movie has the great opening scene with Bond flying a plane away from nuclear materials. Has a fantastic car chase for everything involved there, and has a great relationship between the girls.
All right, so we will start with Tim. 1 minute for your closing. Time begins when you start talking.
I want to make sure we're not arguing best Bond film, worst Bond film, best actor, worst actor. What I'm talking about is License to Kill came out, people liked it, and then other movies came. GoldenEye came out, and Brosnan swept and took over. Craig took over. Jacoby says that this idea of License to Kill where Bond goes rogue has been done better. It hasn't, because the times that Bond has gone rogue are Quantum of Solace, and if you think that's better than License to Kill, you're crazy, and Spectre. And if you think that Spectre is better than License to Kill, I'm sorry, you're crazy. This idea of Bond going rogue, going for revenge is such a cool story, and people just forget about it because it's the thing that happened in between Roger Moore and Brosnan. Tomorrow Never Dies is a serviceable, fun Bond movie, but that's all it is. It's a movie that deserves to kind of just be that. It's the follow-up to GoldenEye. It's not very good, and people don't forget about it. It's not underrated because there's not even really anything that fantastic about it to begin with.
Time. All right, we're going to go to Jacoby. 1 minute for your closing. Time begins when you start talking.
We have two movies here. License to Kill was a critical success that was underrated at one point due to lack of exposure, but I think now is pretty well liked. Tomorrow Never Dies still remains underrated to this day, and I get why. It was totally eclipsed by GoldenEye's popularity, both the movie and the iconic Golden N64 video game, which came out 2 months before Tomorrow Never Dies. It completely overshadowed it. Plus, the story was criticized for being silly and a step down from the gritty GoldenEye. I'll admit Tim's point is correct. It is a serviceable Bond movie. Back then in 97, but the thing is, Tomorrow Never Dies' story about a media giant pushing a certain narrative and shaping the news may have rolled off people in 97, but it's incredibly timely today, and it's hard to watch this movie in 2020 without reflecting on what's happening in the real world. That's powerful stuff. It wasn't as well liked then, but it takes on a whole new meaning now and deserves to be more liked. Tomorrow Never Dies walks this line perfectly between gritty and fun and gives us a Bond that's suave, charming, badass, and a little darker, capturing all sides of Bond's persona, and gives us one of the best Bond girls of all time who's not recognized enough.
Time. All right. We have a beautiful Barr with his glasses. I see it. I saw that. You don't get to hide that. All right. We're gonna write down our answers. This was a very back and forth round. It's been very back and forth the entire debate. This is very difficult. I am straight up not having a good time.
I don't know where I'm going yet.
Oh, that's a bummer because we're starting with you.
No! Ah! God, no!
I have heartburn.
Oh boy, this is intense. I'm literally.
We good?
You can call me camping because I'm intense. All right, go ahead.
No, you go first after that.
You go first.
No, you. This went back and forth because once again, two different arguments, but very similar. And I think what I had to do is I had to go with the person I think that had the most punches. And I think the person with the most punches was Jacoby. I think that he brought up more about the flaws of License to Kill than I think Tim brought up of the flaws of Jacoby's movie.
Robert, where are you leaning and why?
I also went with Jacoby. I thought this one was really interesting. I think Tim's closing, he sort of said that like Jacoby hadn't talked about what makes Tomorrow Never Dies sort of stand out, and I think Jacoby argued really, really well for why today it is an underrated film, because the story and the plot and the themes are very relevant in today's world, so people need to go back and revisit it because it's sort of forgotten, lost in the shuffle of the Brosnan movies, and why it's more standout from a storyline aspect. And I didn't really hear very much of an argument against that point from Tim, so that point really stuck at home from even the opening argument for me for Jacoby.
My vote doesn't count, but I also concur with my fellow judges. I would have gone with Jacoby for the same reasons. So we are tied 2-2, which means we are doing a speed round. We are doing a speed round. So we'll be going to the fifth and final prep round, debate round, drafted by Mr. Brzakala, which comes from another category that just gives me great joy, Harry Potter. And your question is thus, besides Voldemort, who is the best villain in the Harry Potter films? So we will begin with Mr. Brzakala. 1 minute for your opening time begins when you start talking.
There are a lot of villains in the Harry Potter world, but if you're taking out Voldemort, the one that has had the biggest impact on the story and the characters is Bellatrix Lestrange. She single-handedly has fucked with so many of these characters. Messes with Neville's parents, kills Sirius Black, attacks Ginny, burns down the burrow. She is an evil woman, and it comes across so well in these movies, from the moment she's introduced in the Order of the Phoenix to her awesome final moment in Deathly Hallows Part 2. She is an evil character that you always remember from this series, and she's one that has done the most damage to these characters, which makes her the best or worst, you know what I mean, villain in this series other than Voldemort.
Time. All right, so we will go to Jacoby. 1 minute for your opening time begins when you start talking.
Stephen King, the master of horror, called Dolores Umbridge the greatest make-believe villain to come along since Hannibal Lecter. And you know what? That's accurate. Sure, she doesn't look that scary. She's mostly a soft-spoken, older woman dressed in pink all the time who loves cats. But we all know Umbridge is more than that. She is the best villain in the Harry Potter franchise because of what she represents. She systematically infiltrates Hogwarts, eliminates every personal freedom, enacts cruel and sadistic punishments to those who speak up and disobey, and refuses to acknowledge the growing threat of Voldemort until it's too late, until the end where she basically flips and joins him, where she realizes she's basically a Nazi. You hate Umbridge and you want to see her fail. She's smug, she's clever, she almost single-handedly destroys Hogwarts from the inside and does so in this cold, quiet way that should truly terrify everyone. She is the embodiment of everything we fear from an ignorant higher government power and is the best villain of the Harry Potter franchise, hands down.
All right, conceding about 3 seconds on that one. 5 minutes. Go for it, folks.
5 seconds would have been fun.
You go first.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. Harry Potter film gets new defense against the dark arts teacher that is crazy and mean, and then is out in a wimpy way by the end of the movie. Okay, but seriously, Umbridge is a good character. I really like her character. You definitely root against her 100%. But she makes the owls pretty difficult in year 5. Granted, she does the little righty thing on the hand. That kind of fucking sucks. Bellatrix murdered fucking Sirius Black. Destroyed the burrow. Literally tears apart our heroes from just... It's insane the amount of damage she does. Umbridge is a great villain to root against in Order of the Phoenix. Absolutely. But she is not an overarching villain that you remember as from the series as a whole. From your movie, absolutely. The series as a whole, next to Voldemort, Bellatrix is the one that does the most.
You said in your opening that Bellatrix has like the biggest impact on the story and does the most damage, and I argue against that. You say like all she does is do the makes the owls hard and scribble on the hands, which is sadistic and cruel and fucked up beyond all reason. By the way, but she also creates this environment where Voldemort was allowed to return. She was the catalyst for bringing Hogwarts down, for suppressing all the news out there for Voldemort. She is the most dangerous villain out of anyone in there. Bellatrix is fun. She's a fun personality. But I think that she's also interchangeable. She's just the one throwing the wand and doing the and shooting the spells. You stick a angsty Lucius Malfoy or like Greyback or any random Death Eater into any one of her scenes, and nothing changes whatsoever. Umbridge is a representation of the systematic failure of the Ministry to respond to Voldemort and not having an adequate defense that allows him to rise up and take over. That is by far the best villain.
What a villain is supposed to do, it's supposed to make you feel something. You're supposed to maybe sometimes side with a villain if it's a little more sympathetic. You have none of that with Bellatrix because she is so fucking evil. She murdered Dobby. Are we forgetting that she fucking murders Dobby? And it creates the most emotional impact on not just the characters in the movie, but also the audience. And don't get me wrong, again, Umbridge is a great villain in Order of the Phoenix. And again, she does sadistic stuff. I'm not saying that the etching in the thing isn't sadistic, but what I'm saying is that it was nothing against what we had seen before. We saw Barty Crouch Jr. come in as a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher, Quirrell, Lockhart, all of these characters that come in as a new presence at Hogwarts that fucks shit up. She probably did that the best of those, but it's still something that we saw before. And so it didn't create a response with the audience or the characters. Whereas with Bellatrix, she makes you feel something because she kills Sirius, she kills Dobby, she burns down the Burrow.
Okay, a lot to unpack there. One, you just say it's like, oh, she's just like every other Defense Against the Dark Art teacher. No, she does what every other previous Defense Against the Dark Art teacher failed to do and basically fuck everything up in a bigger way. She actually accomplishes her goal to suppress the information. She is actually successful in what she does. So saying that she's just like everyone else is just a clear understatement of everything. You say villains should make us feel something. It's easy to hate Bellatrix Lestrange because she's crazy and she's out there and she's just pure evil. Umbridge is quiet. Umbridge is calm. Umbridge is collected. She is everything like that. On the surface, she doesn't look like a villain, but her words are sadistic and her words are cruel. And for some reason, you hate this old woman in pink. For what? Because she is pure evil. And you keep saying, yeah, he killed Dobby. But I have a big problem with that Dobby killing scene is that Bellatrix Lestrange is basically useless in that. When she has Hermione's throat like up there, yeah, cut her fucking throat, Bellatrix. Do something useful. Don't just stand up at Dobby and wait for the chandelier to fall and then basically wait to push him away. That is an ineffective villain, sir.
1 minute.
Okay, that's just a very nitpicky thing that you are throwing out. She succeeds in doing basically and if we're talking, again, more sadistic stuff, she does, if that's where we're going, is who's more sadistic. She also etches mudblood into Hermione's arm in that scene. That's also sadistic as fuck. Both of these characters are evil. There's nothing doubting that. But when the question is besides Voldemort, what villain is the best? And overall in the series, the one who makes the most impact on the audience, on the characters, is Bellatrix, because she does the most throughout. Umbridge, again, I'm not saying that she's like everyone, all those other teachers. I'm saying that the premise of her coming in is like all those other premises. So it's not as impactful as this new crazy character coming in. And the first thing we see her do is kill Sirius Black.
I don't see how you can see that she's not impactful when she literally fosters the environment where Voldemort returns. Bellatrix is just there and throws
time. All right, so we're going to go to closings, starting with Jacoby. 1 minute, time begins when you start talking.
The most terrifying thing about the Harry Potter franchise wasn't the Dark Lord returning, but rather it was the idea that the Dark Lord returned and the Ministry refused to believe it. Dolores Umbridge led this charge and through completely legal and government-approved ways broke down Hogwarts from the inside and turned the entire world against Dumbledore and Harry, successfully discrediting them for a bit. Umbridge is a monster who abuses her power to shape the narrative into whatever she decides is right. She is the best villain in the Harry Potter franchise and way better than Bellatrix. Bellatrix is a fun personality, but there's nothing to her character besides being crazy town banana pants. There's no depth or anything. And I'll say it, I think almost destroying Hogwarts from the inside and cruelly punishing anyone who speaks up and creating an environment that makes people doubt if the Dark Lord is back has way more impact on the characters and the world overall than killing a house elf, luckily by throwing a knife and by arriving out of nowhere and shooting Sirius when he was distracted and then getting gunned down by Harry. Umbridge is the worst and best villain of the Harry Potter franchise.
Time.
Man, my voice cracked at the end there.
All right, we're gonna go to Tim. 1 minute. Time begins. We start talking.
This has turned into a lot of what has this character done worse than the other character? When you look at it, Bellatrix has done the most impact to the characters in the series. I've named a ton. I won't repeat myself, but I'll also say she destroys Hogwarts in Half-Blood Prince. She's on the clock tower when Dumbledore dies. She's the one who's like egging Draco to do it. She's the one who puts the dark mark in the sky. And if we're talking about things that, like, when you think of moments in Harry Potter, you remember the moment where she gets taken out by Molly Weasley, but Umbridge is picked up by a centaur, and that's cool. I guess she goes away, and we get to go have the real finale with the real villains like Voldemort and Bellatrix. Umbridge is a great character for Order of the Phoenix, but villain in the series, Bellatrix has done the most to impact the characters, the audience, and the story. Umbridge is just there as another villain for Order of the
Time.
I don't want to do this.
Wow. Okay. I'm still deciding myself personally, so I'm not even gonna ask. Okay. I think I got my vote. All right. Robert, we'll start with you.
This one was close for a bit and then not close again. I put Tim. I think that these are the two picks. Like, if you're gonna pick, like, these are the two picks, and you're both talking about, you know, how sadistic one is versus the other, what one person did versus the other. And as much as I hate the metaphorical politicizing of education, actual murder might be worse. So I do have to go with Tim. And also, Tim kept saying that it's just an Order of the Phoenix, just an Order of the Phoenix. And I didn't hear the counter from Jacoby that, no, she's, like, doing terrible shit in the Deathly Hallows, too. She's more sadistic even then when she's in more control in the Ministry. So I think Tim, his arguments against Umbridge weren't really countered by Jacoby as well as I think they could have been, so I went with Tim.
Barr, where are you leaning and why?
Almost for the exact same reason as Robert. I picked Tim as well. The whole no counter for Order of the Phoenix. And Tim brought up the way that the villains went out and why the audience is more satisfied with Lestrange's because of that.
All right, so Tim will take a 3-2 lead as we get to the speed round. My vote does not matter. I slightly lean Jacoby. I think Jacoby was able to knock down and diminish Bellatrix's accomplishments, which just kind of worked for me slightly. But now we go to the speed round. And how this works is you have a 45-second opening and a 30-second rebuttal. Whoever answers the question first will be going first. I'm going to read the question twice, and then you will be allowed to answer. So your first speed round question is from the world of coming of age /teen. And your question is, what is the best 2010's coming of age film? What is the best 2010's coming of age film?
Can I check a year on something?
Yes, you may. You are allowed to use Google to help you in
this atmosphere.
In this atmosphere, absolutely.
Tim, are you thinking, or are you just waiting to see what? Are you waiting to go second?
A little bit of both. I have two in my head, one that I'm leaning towards.
I want this one.
I'll go first. The Edge of 17.
I'll go with, yeah. I'll go with the way back.
All right.
Pandering.
Edge of 17 versus.
Who likes it here? Who do I got to pander to?
There's no Boatman here. The Edge of 17 versus the way back. Tim, you answered first, so you'll be going first. 45 seconds when you start talking.
The Edge of 17 is about a 17-year-old girl played by Haley Steinfeld in high school, struggling with her relationships with her best friend, with her mother, with her brother. And it is an absolutely incredible film. Haley Steinfeld is great in it. Haley Lou Richardson is great. Blake Jenner. The direction and the writing is so sharp. Woody Harrelson as the teacher is great. The way back is good, but it's overshadowed by the fact that Sam Rockwell is so good in it that the coming of age aspect is actually kind of played down because the main character you don't like as well. You like him, but you don't care as much about Sam Rockwell and the other Steve Carell's character. You like those characters more coming out of the movie. You remember those characters more. Whereas Edge of 17, you remember Nadine and her character and her friends, the coming of age aspects of the movie.
All right, Jacoby, 45 seconds for your opening when you start talking.
The way back is about a severely, very awkward teenager who has to go to this beach house with his family, and then where he comes away from it learning to be a man, which is the very definition of a great coming of age story overall. Yes, Sam Rockwell is in it, and he is a great job of it because he is the mentor character. He is what drives drives our main character, Duncan, I believe, to undergo this huge character transformation to stand up to his stepfather. And the way that they portray abuse and evilness for the stepfather is great because he's not an out villain. He's just this big dick that Duncan has to stand up to. I really don't like Edge of 17's ending because I think it really diminishes real mental issues by having her kind of get over her issues with a very easy fix after expressing really dark, depressing thoughts before that. It was too easy of a fix. I think ruined the coming of age aspect of
that. 30 seconds, Tim, for your rebuttal when you start talking.
Jacoby kind of, again, made my point for me is that the evilness of Steve Carell's character, the greatness of Sam Rockwell's character are the things that you remember about the way back. Whereas with Edge of 17, you remember Nadine being such a great character throughout the movie, her relationships with her mother, her friend, her brother, and even her teacher played by Woody Harrelson. The teacher aspect, the mentor aspect is perfectly done in The Edge of 17, while Woody Harrelson gives you a memorable performance, but leaves it on Nadine, whereas Sam Rockwell overshadows way back.
All right. Jacoby, 30 seconds for your rebuttal when you start talking.
I disagree that Sam Rockwell and Steve Carell overshadow the coming of age aspect of the movie because they both influence our main character's life so well. Yes, Sam Rockwell is this larger than life, quirky character, but that's the character he was supposed to play. He was supposed to bring Duncan out of his shell and be able to stand up to it. And that is a beautiful story and a great relationship between the two people. Edge of 17 rests solely on Nadine, and for a lot of the time, she's not great during that movie. She goes through this very down period of time, and her issues of being resolved at the end are completely washed over. She doesn't have a very natural and believable breakthrough. It's just a very simple one-note answer to it that completely wraps up the movie.
All right. Another great fight. This has been a great match.
Yeah.
We're still we are still running. We still let's not stop because they have less time.
I'm sorry.
Rules are rules. All right. I'll start. I'm going with Jacoby. I think Jacoby had great counters to Edge of 17 and why way back works with those relationships while also knocking down Edge of 17. I didn't get any defense from Tim on the clean fix that Jacoby kept talking about. So we'll go to Robert.
Yeah, I also went with Jacoby, and but basically for that same reason that you said, I really needed just a little bit there in Tim's closing about why the easy fix is okay and doesn't diminish the coming of age aspect. Instead, Tim's closing was good. It just sort of restated the overshadowing aspect and why Nadine is a central character and those kind of things, which are very good points, just not quite enough to counter that really big punch that Jacoby made in his opening.
All right, and so with that, Jacoby ties it up. We are all tied up at 3 going into the last speed round question. Barr, where would you have leaned and why?
For the exact same reason you guys said.
Okay, so we go to the last question, which comes in the world of Disney/Pixar, and your question is, what Disney animated film most deserves a live-action remake?
So just to be clear, it can just not have been made yet. If it's something that's already been announced, is that something we could go with?
I will look to my fellow judges for.
That's it, probably. If it's not made yet.
Yeah, if it's
Okay,
not
then
out
yeah,
yet.
well, we will
It could
accept,
land in
we'll
development
accept
hell
that
still.
answer then. If those
Yeah.
are, if they're not made yet, then yes.
Okay.
So, but not counting ones. It's like ones if we want to do one over again that could have been done better.
None that already exist.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. What is a Disney
There
movie?
is a correct answer.
What is a Disney film? This is not Jeopardy. You do not have to phrase your answers in the form of a question.
We've been doing this wrong then.
Oh, shit. Barr, you have one job. All right. That was keep me on track.
We should do this reverse one time where our questions are answers and they have to argue the question.
That would be fun.
Ooh, there are a few good ones on this.
There are. I was thinking of one, and now I'm changing my mind.
Can I hear the question so I don't get it wrong? Can you say it one more time, please?
What Disney animated film most deserves a live action remake?
Okay, and I'll go first, Tim, since you went first last time, so that'll be fair.
Okay.
A lot of fair play being shown here today.
I'm gonna go with. It's tough. Sorry.
Gave me a lot of build up there.
I know I did. I was so ready to say it. I didn't want to pull the trigger. But you know what? I'm gonna say Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
And I will go Hercules.
Okay.
No love for my guy, fun and fancy free.
Hey, say it with a slap, Robert. Say it with a slap. All right. Oh boy. Jacoby, you went first or answered first. So you'll be going first. 45 seconds when you start talking. Oh.
I think Atlantis: The Lost Empire is a great Disney animated movie that could only be built better upon with a live action adaptation, because I think when I look at that movie, it's a lot of fun, but I think there's a lot of missing holes in that movie that could be expanded on to make a really great adventure overall. I think the characters are a little underdefined and the plot is a little stiff when you watch that movie, and it's a little too short, which I really want to expand upon the mythology of Atlantis and the journey to get there and the characters that we've come to know and love through a short period of time through a live action adaptation to see it done beautifully on the big screen. I think that is one of the best ones to do, because I think if you remake any of the classic Disney ones overall, then I think you just watch the Disney ones. But I think Atlantis represents a great potential for what these live action adaptations should be going forward.
Time.
Yeah, sweet.
All right. Tim, 45 seconds when you start talking.
We've seen other companies try to make live action Hercules movies and fail miserably, especially the Dwayne Johnson one. If you take the Disney type of Hercules movie and make it a live action thing, you can have so much fun with the songs, and you could get Danny DeVito to play Phil again. It would be amazing. And then you could just have all these fun, colorful characters. You would have a great villain, great characters all the way through. Whereas Atlantis, Jacoby said it. The characters aren't that great. The story's kind of stiff. You're expanding on it, but no, I don't think anybody wants to see it because it's something that already people aren't really in love with. Whereas Hercules would be something that would be a spectacle, something huge and awesome for everybody to love, for families to love. Atlantis would kind of only cater to one kind of audience.
All right, Jacoby, 30 seconds for your rebuttal when you start talking.
I think the biggest problem with these Disney live action adaptations is that they either veer too close to the original to the point where it's just like, yeah, why would we not just watch the animated movie, which seems to be the movie you're pitching with Danny DeVito as Phil and all the songs and all the colorful villains. It's like, why not just watch the original again, as opposed to doing something different and expanding out there. And that's why I want to, exactly, you're right, that Atlantis needs to be built upon. It is not a perfect story, but I think it can be. It has the potential to build out into something really great with great characters, and to see it on a big screen with the whole Atlantis mythology seen epically, that would be epic to see.
Time. All right, Tim, 30 seconds when you start talking.
I think both movies would have a good way to expand and become new things that aren't just prototypes of the original, but you can't also get rid of the original stuff from Hercules, the characters, the great songs, the music, even having like the colorful characters, like I said. Whereas Atlantis is already something that people aren't 100% on board with. You could see the adventure on the big screen. That could be cool, but it's no different than just like another Indiana Jones movie or another big budget adventure film, or like Uncharted coming out, whereas at least Hercules would be something we like.
All right. This has been a great fight. It all comes down to this, though. So, everyone, judges, you all have your answers? All right. So, we will start with Robert.
That was back and forth and back. Every time somebody started talking, they won me over. That was really, really close. These are both great picks. I decided to go with Tim. I think his mention, especially at the end there, about how Atlantis isn't necessarily deserving because it would just be another sort of run-of-the-mill adventure movie. I think that was a very, very good point. That it's for a more niche audience. It's not something that can be really reinvented necessarily. And I liked his counter about how you can't completely abandon the original.
Barr, where are you leaning and why?
I'm going to leave this up to you, buddy. I went with Jacoby because I think, well, first of all, I was waiting for someone to be argue why it would be better as live action, but no one did that. So I had to go with Jacoby's argument of a remake. The purpose of it is to fill in the holes and problems of the past, which Jacoby used to argue against Tim as reinventing the same thing better.
I can't believe you done this. You put it all on me, and I don't like this. Too much pressure. So I think both did a really good attempt at arguing the question. They both came from different perspectives of it. But at the end of the day, and new Fanzone debate champion, Jacoby Bancroft. I think that Jacoby had a really good attack on it's a little too close to the original, especially with the mention of Danny DeVito coming back and playing Phil again, which then prompts the question, why do it? I think was a really good attack that I never got a good defense for. So with that, your winner and new Fanzone debate champion, Jacoby the Barbarian Bancroft. That was an incredible debate all the way through. We went the entire 7 rounds. I think that is for sure match of the year, in my opinion. Both came to play today. We will go to post-match interviews, starting with our unfortunate loser today, Tim Brzakala. The streak has ended. You got your first loss. Any thoughts you have after today's match?
No, not much. Like I said at the beginning, I've been doing this for fun for a long time. Congrats to Jacoby because he played really, really well. He had me literally sweating. So yeah, no, I think I did my best. I probably could have done more prep on a couple of the questions. I won one that I really was not expecting to at all. And I lost one that I was expecting to win. So, that's just kind of how it goes with the game. But congrats to Jacoby. I'm excited to see what happens next season with him as the champion now, because we have a big tournament coming up to find out who he's going to play. And that's going to do it for me, folks. This is my official retirement from debate, from Fanzone, because I'm tired and Cody whips me into fandom and I can't focus on this anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But actually, really congrats to Jacoby. I'm excited to see next season, but I'm going to move into just show running and handling this whole thing now. And I'm really excited to see who Jacoby plays next, because in my opinion, I should have played him, forever ago in the beginning of the year. I think that his run at the beginning of the season was amazing, and his run here was incredible as well. So yeah, congrats.
I just have to say it. You are leaving some hulking shoes to fill in the champs run. A massive record to go out on, and a great match even in defeat to hang your hat on. So you have been a great champion, and I'm excited to see you do this full time, and I don't have to have my panic attack of, am I doing this right? Tim, help me.
Correct.
So this will be it's nice to have you on the backside of this full time, but you have been a great champion. And speaking to our new champion, Jacoby Bancroft, you said at the top your whole point of this was to not play in the tournament. You are not playing in the tournament, good sir. Thoughts on your win today?
That was incredible. This is probably not an exaggeration, my favorite debate that I've done for that I have. That was a great fight. You brought up, that was amazing. I'm speechless, which is weird because I just did a debate. Everything about that was so much fun, Tim. And just, thank you for, I same way. It's like, I won one that I thought I was going to lose, and I lost one that I thought I was going to win, and that threw that beginning into like chaos.
Yep.
It's like, okay, crap, anything can happen here now. And so just thank you for being such a great opponent. And I'm excited, I guess. That's big. Oh my God. Oh, that was so much fun. And I'm excited to see. I got to be in like a championship mode now. Like, okay, all right, bring it on, next competitor. I will take whoever brings it, and I will defend with an iron fist in Tim's honor.
Speaking of which, is there anyone you're hoping to see in your next defense? Anyone that you think could run that tournament that you want to see again? Or prefer?
Yes and no, because yes, I want to see this person, and no, because it's like the only person who I ever lose to is Kirk Kowalkowski. It's my only loss in debate, and I gotta get that over again. I gotta do over that. Other than that, I'd love to debate anybody at any time. It's a fun time.
All right. Well,
I want Kirk to win.
Congratulations on your win today. We'll go to the judges to wrap this up real quick. Final thoughts, starting with Mr. Parker. Thoughts on this debate as we wrap up?
Yeah, just a great one. Close. One of my favorite ones I've ever had the pleasure of judging in. These two are extremely evenly matched and showed here.
Absolutely. And Barr, your thoughts?
I'm going to just echo what Robert said. There was maybe 3 or 4 times where literally, in my opinion, bounced back and forth throughout the entire match. And that doesn't happen unless you have 2 people of equal skill entering the ring.
Absolutely. I think this has been a great match all the way around. And with that is going to do it for Fanzone today. So thank you all so much for watching. For Jacoby, for Tim, for Robert, for Andrew. I have been Caleb, and this has been Fanzone Debate. And we'll see you guys real soon. Peace out.
That's my bad. I was sending tweets.
Well, if you had told me at the end of the year that we'd be playing for a title, I would have thought you meant movie Warzone. But we're here in TV, and I don't know how you did this. But we're here. We're playing Jacoby. Go ahead.
I broke something, and I don't know what I did.
Jacoby's great. His run this year proves that he deserves this title. And we've had a decent run of people that we should never have beaten. But at the end of the day, we did it. We beat those people. We have obviously some knowledge of TV because we're here. And so
this was like falling upstairs. This was a real experience.
Yeah, we fell up. We fell all the way up to the top to Jacoby, and we're just going to come in and do what we did the last couple times. Take it relaxed, answer questions. Maybe we'll win. Maybe we won't. But at the end of the day, we weren't supposed to be here today.
Oh man! All right, my first TV title defense. This is exciting. But I got to be honest with you. I'm actually kind of nervous. I didn't think I was going to be nervous, but I am nervous because I think Boatman's run to get here has been great. Do I think I'm a better TV player than Boatman? Yes, but the last few times I've played Boatman in a bunch of other places, my luck has gotten like the best. Like I've gotten really lucky and eked out some wins against him. So I've had this sinking feeling that like this match, the one that I actually want to win, is going to flip on me and my luck is going to run out. But let's hope that doesn't happen. Either way, we're going to have some fun. You know, playing Boat's always a good time. He picked good shows, thank God. And I'm super excited. So Boatman, let's have a blast. Let's do this. TV title. Woohoo.
All right, we are here. We've been waiting for this. It is the TV title matchup. Of course, Jacoby's first defense going against probably someone you never would have thought to see here with Kaleb Boatman. You know, I never would have thought of it, you know, seeing how the tournament was set up. But, you know, miracles happen, I guess. But we're here for it, and we're going to find out who's going to win this. So let's bring him in. First, our reigning champion, 4-0 record. He is one Jacoby Bancroft. Jacoby, your first title defense. How you feeling?
Oh man, excited! This is fun. I've never thought I'd be in a position to have like a title defense. It makes me sound so official. I don't know how I got here, and I'm excited to play Boat. So let's do it.
All right, well, let's bring him in. He is Mr. 5-1, Kaleb Boatman, the winner of the TV Tournament of Power. I don't know how it happened either, Kaleb, but
you're 5-1. I don't like that.
You're 5-1.
He has more wins
you
than I
earned your
do.
shot at here, but you know. How you feeling going into this? You nervous, calm, excited, or you're just like, eh?
I'm here. That's what counts.
Yes. All right. Well, both of them are here. They know what this is about. This is a 5-round matchup to determine who will walk out with the TV title. We'll go over the rules for each round as we progress forward with this to remind both competitors. Before we get started with the rules, you have your 3 repeats and your 1 challenge rule, so use them wisely. But let's kick it off with round number 1, and round number 1 works as such. 8 questions, 8 predetermined shows. We have all the 6 strength shows in there, plus 2 random shows. I will ask a question. You will have 15 seconds to write your answers down if you have one. Or you can write a smart-ass comment. I really don't care. When called upon, you will show your boards as well as verbalize it. Verbalization is the key for the correct point. You don't get any deductions for any wrong answers and no stealing. So with that, are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
All right. Your first question. We start with Lost. Your question. What does Hurley buy off an old man during his flashbacks in the episode Exodus Part 2 at the airport? I know this is a favorite strength of Jacoby, so we'll see if he can pull this. As we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's start with Boatman.
I said a sandwich.
And Jacoby.
His motor scooter.
That is correct.
Okay, I got the last question. I'm happy.
That's all he wanted.
That's all I wanted.
That's all he wanted. Well, Boatman, the title was yours. It is now over. He got his lost question. You are the. No, I'm just kidding. We still have more matches to play. Because it's only fair. Now we go to boat strength. The one he has rode more than Jim Green riding a partner to a title match. Community is your next show. What actor plays Chief Custodian Bob White? I figured Koho, wherever he's at, would enjoy that, you know. But we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands down, Jacoby.
Nathan Fillion.
And Boatman.
My celebrity crush is Nathan Fillion!
Both of them hit
That character exists, like Chang says that. In this very next episode. It's wild.
Speaking of wild, we go to that show with all of the crazy housewives, Desperate Housewives. Who is the credited creator of Desperate Housewives? Not my kind of show, but you know, we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down, Boatman.
Pretty sure it was Yo Mama.
And Jacoby.
Very close. Mark Cherry.
That is the correct one. All right, we are in our fourth show, Phineas and Ferb. What is the name of Ferb's pet chameleon that is released later on?
Oh.
We'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down, Jacoby.
Charlie.
And Bowman.
I said it was a karma chameleon.
His name was Steve. He was Steve the chameleon.
I watched that episode too.
All right, we go to our next question. Coming in The Crown. Name both actresses to play Queen Elizabeth in the series. I'm watching the backstage area, and if you can see what I see, folks, we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down, Bowman.
Olivia Colman and Claire Foy.
And Jacoby.
Claire Foy and Olivia Colman.
Both of them hit. All right, our next question comes in The Mandalorian. What famed MCU director directed Chapter 8, Redemption of The Mandalorian? We'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Jacoby.
Taika Waititi.
And Caleb.
I almost said him, and then I changed it to Jon Favreau.
It was Taika Waititi.
Dang it!
Yeah.
Dang it!
Jon Favreau did write that episode, though, so there is that. All right, our penultimate question comes in Schitt's Creek. Where does Ted want to take Alexis on a trip to in the episode The Roast? We'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down, Jacoby.
The Galapagos Islands.
And Caleb.
I said Disney World.
Jacoby is correct to the Galapagos Islands because of his acceptance for a study program. Your last question is Psych. In the episode Ghosts, who is the rookie that Henry Spencer tells to book Sean when he brings his son into the station to arrest him? Go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Caleb.
Buzz McNabb?
And Jacoby.
Karen Vick.
It was actually Lassiter. It was Lassiter as a rookie. Yes. Yes. Great, nice little episode where, Sean's mom comes back and everything. Great, nice little episode. But we end round 1. Jacoby is at 6 points and Caleb is at 2. So how that works is we go into round number 2, which is our wheel round. I will bring up a wheel to spin. Our competitors will go. Each of our strength shows are on there, plus players and opponent's choice. Each show has 4 questions worth 2 points apiece. You can't opt out of multiple choice, and there is stealing. So if you miss something, your opponent can steal it and get some extra points. Jacoby, since you are ahead, you will have the option to go first up on our wheel. All of our shows are on there on our pre-spun wheel. We have Lost, Community, Desperate Housewives, Phineas and Ferb, Schitt's Creek, and Psych.
All right. Can I speak to Koho about it?
As your parlay teammate, I think that you should forfeit and go home.
It's good advice. I'm thinking about that. I was on the verge.
Pretty close.
I think I'm going to defer.
I think
Okay.
Great choice.
Julius.
Great choice, Jacoby. Proud of you. All right, let's do this, Boatman.
I think you should invest in my Orange Julius.
Agreed.
And
Great.
I
Thank
think
you.
we know where it's going to go.
Oh, thank you.
I like Community.
Let's take Community.
Okay.
I blame Koho.
I blame Koho for everything. So, just add that to the bucket. All right. Kaleb Koho, you have ridden this show into the ground. Let's see how you do with it. Are you ready for your first one?
Kaleb Koho, but cool.
Whatever. You're both Caleb's. All right, your first question, whatever Caleb you are today. What Spanish phrase does Chang use to wake a sleeping Jeff in the episode Home Economics?
Multiple choice.
Your options are A, Buenas noches, B, Buenos dias, C, Buen dia, or D, Bueno.
B.
Correct for a point.
Okay, I didn't realize that you were just looking for Spanish for good morning.
Well, what Spanish phrase does he use?
Yeah, no, I get it.
All right, your second question. What does the winner of the Pop and Lock-a-thon get in the episode Accounting for Lawyers?
Multiple choice.
Your options are A, an iTunes gift card, B, an Amazon gift card, C, the option to annex Poland, or D, a $100 gift card.
A.
Correct for a point. I never want to see Dean Pelton come and start talking hip ever in an episode again after seeing that. Your third question. Who helps Jeff beat the Krauts at foosball in the episode Foosball and Nocturnal Vigilantism?
Shirley.
Correct for 2 points. Your final episode. In Introduction to Teaching, what is the first question Jeff as a teacher gets asked by his class?
Multiple choice.
Your options are A, can I go to the bathroom? B, will there be a syllabus? C, how are we going to be graded? Or D, what percent of our grade will be in the final?
B.
What was that again?
B, as in boy or boatman or bananas. Barkley.
That is correct for a point. All right, able to get 5 points out of that to bring him up. So let's go back to our wheel for Jacoby. Do I need to bring in Koho again?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Right, I don't need to bring him in then, right?
Fine.
Okay, that works.
Jacoby, as long as you keep your vampires out of your Orange Julius, you'll be fine.
Let's spin the wheel. See what it lands on. Player's choice as well.
Oh, God. I'm going to be honest with you, Boatman. I binged all 4 seasons of Phineas and Ferb. And now I feel bad that I won't get a lot of questions for it, but I got to go with Lost.
Fair.
All right, he's going with Lost instead of Phineas and Ferb, which he just binged. I figured he would have gone for Schitt's Creek because that is the one show out of here I enjoyed the most. But no.
It's a good show.
Fuck you. You had to do this. Okay. All right. Your first question in Lost. Are you ready, Jacoby?
Let's do it.
All right. Your first question. In the episode Abandoned, Shannon is trying to get into what prestigious dance company?
What dance company?
Yes.
Multiple choice, please.
Your options are A, the New York City Ballet, B, American Ballet Theater, C, Alvin Alley American Dance Theater, or D, Martha Graham Dance Company.
A.
Boatman, a chance for a 1-point steal.
Can I hear the options again?
Yes, you can. Option A, New York City Ballet, B, American Ballet Theater, C, Alvin Alley American Dance Theater, or D, Martha Graham Dance Company.
I'm going to say B.
Also incorrect. It was D, Martha Graham Dance Company she was trying to get into.
I assumed it wasn't an actual one.
So sad.
Yes. All right, your second question, Jacoby. Who was the man that came into the monastery that punches Desmond right in the nose in the episode Catch-22 flashback?
Who is the man? Who
Yes.
are you? It is the brother of the woman Desmond left at the altar.
I need his name, though.
Oh, you need his name?
Yes.
Choice, please.
Your options are A, Dominic, B, Derek, C, Doug, or D, David.
Derek.
Correct for a point. Punches him right in the nose. Fine moment on that show. When I started to watch it, then it lost me after the violence was gone. Okay, your third episode. Daniel gets a research grant from Charles Whitmore worth how much in the episode The Variable?
I hate numbers questions. His grant was for... Multiple choice, please.
Your options are A, £2 million, B, £1 million, C, £2.5 million, or D, £1.5 million.
You said it's basically 2, 1, 1.5, 2.5?
Yes.
A.
Incorrect. Boatman, chance for a 1-point steal.
Can I hear the options again?
Yes. A, £2 million, B, £1 million, C, £2.5 million, or D, £1.5 million.
I'll say B.
Also incorrect. It was £1.5 million, option D.
Fair.
Your last question, Jacoby. Who was with Jack as he lay dying in the bamboo grove?
Vincent.
Correct for 2 points. Coming out of that, it is 9-7. Still a close game. We are done with round 2. Now we go to our exciting round 3, which is our picture round, folks, where I bring up a lovely photo, and how it works is every time I bring it up, these guys will write on their whiteboards. They will give me the actor or actress, if it's male or female. If it's a voice, if it's a cartoon character, because there is cartoon shows here, they will give me the voice actor of said cartoon. They will give me the character and the show. Each one of those worth 1 point. So if they get all 3, they can get up to 3 points. Here's our first picture. There's only going to be 3 pictures in this, so here we go. Your first picture. I need the actress name, character name, and its show. We'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Jacoby.
I really regret clarifying first and last names. I know that's Ronnie from Schitt's Creek, but I have no idea Ronnie's last name.
Well, were you able to get the actress at all, or no? Okay.
Okay, well, I did not realize that these were all going to be from the strength shows. So I said it was Susan McNugget from The Shield.
Wow. Yes, these are all the strength shows.
Okay, that would have been nice to know to begin with.
If you watched the title match, you would have known. But
Jacoby does get 1 point. He does at least get Schitt's Creek. So we will go into our next picture. Once I share it. Our next one. I took all 6 shows, spun them on a wheel. First one was the first one, second one, third. So I figured that was the most fair way to do it.
Probably should be 4, 2 from each show. So
Well,
an advantage. But
maybe we can talk about that later in the future, but for right now, it's 3. Deal with it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Let's go to Kaleb Boatman first.
That's John Oliver, Ian Duncan Community.
3 points, Jacoby.
John Oliver, Ian Duncan Community.
All right, both getting.
I almost put John Stewart. That was bad.
Oh yeah, that would have been like a big yikes from me, dog.
3 points each. Okay, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
Okay. Our last one. We go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down, Jacoby.
Daniel Faraday, Jeremy Davies lost.
3 points, Boatman.
Lost, Hunky McHunkerson. Cool Steve!
You know what? You at least get 1 point, so I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
I thought you would have gotten Jeremy Davies. He's like an actor and stuff.
Not a notable one. Okay, don't give me crap for that, because my show's actor was a very famous person.
Jeremy Davies is a saint.
Okay, but he's less famous than John Oliver.
All right. Coming out of round number 3, we're at 16-11, still in favor of Jacoby. As we go into round number 4, round number 4 is as follows. Took all 6 strength shows. There's 1 question from each show. If you get it right, you get a point. If you get it wrong, you lose a point. So that's how round 4 works. It's gain a point, lose a point.
Okay.
Are you guys ready?
And it is 16-11.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. Your first show comes in Community. What names does Alan and Jeff address each other as when they meet each other in Greendale in the lounge? Which I kind of wish there was more episodes with just these two. Screw everybody else.
What names? Okay.
What names do they give each other? What names do they call each other by? Yes.
Making sure it wasn't.
Yes. All right. We'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Kaleb Boatman.
Tango, Sundance.
And Jacoby.
Tango, Sundance. We worked for different people. We worked for different
Both getting a point there. All right. Our next show comes in Desperate Housewives. In the episode Hello, Little Girl, where was Frank when he snuck out during Bree's acceptance speech? Where did he go?
I don't even know who Frank is.
I didn't watch this show for fucking nothing. Please tell me when I want to.
It might be Frank.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Jacoby.
To his car?
And Kaleb.
It's at a strip club.
He does go to his car. He sneaks out to his car.
Okay.
So, Jacoby, you do get that point. But Kaleb, thinking like a normal man, he should have just went to a strip club.
So that's 11-18. Okay.
Yes. All right. Our next show, Phineas and Ferb. Who is credited as the person behind Perry the Platypus's vocal effects in the series? Perry the Platypus. The only reason I got through Phineas and Ferb. I don't like the kids, but I like the spy stuff.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know, but that's just me. But
You want
Five,
Luca files?
4,
Awful.
3, 2, 1. Pens down. Kaleb Boatman.
Came to me last second. D. Bradley Baker.
And Jacoby.
D. Bradley Baker.
Both of them getting it. All right. Our next show, Lost. Upon returning to the outside world, John went under what alias? I need the first and last name of that alias. Bit of a prick, John.
John, yeah. It was. Very tragic figure. His life amounted to nothing.
Yes.
Thought he was special. He was not.
Yes. But we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Jacoby.
Jeremy Bentham.
And Boatman.
The Shadow Man.
All right. Well, Jacoby getting that point there. So, with that, our next show comes in Psych. In the episode Sean and Gus of the Dead, what is the name of the missing night watchman with a criminal record that they are missing from the museum?
Jesus. Judd Nelson. Do you need first and last?
Yes. Lassiter does state it multiple times.
I'm sure he does.
Because he can't handle that the assistant curator is a woman, I think. But that's just my opinion on that episode. But we'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Boatman.
David Carson.
And Jacoby.
Stanley.
It is Douglas Hastings.
Right.
All right. Your last question coming in Schitt's Creek. What celebrity persona does David ask for any advice from when his mother puts him in the Little Mister pageant when he's a child?
Oh, God, is it? I don't know. Shoot.
We will go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pens down. Jacoby.
Is it Elton John?
And Boatman.
I said Tom Bergeron.
It is actually Mario Lopez. Mario Lopez. All right, coming out of round number 4, it's 18-9, still a game. We've seen this deficit before. It can still be overcome. We go into round 5, our championship round, which if you've watched normal, it's just like our normal round 3. We bring back up the wheel. We spin it. If they don't like their first spin, they can spin again. The person behind will go first. Once they pick a show, there's 2 sets of questions. There's one set worth 1, 2, and 3. Second set worth 2, 4, and 6. They must go with a point value that gets them back up with the lead for whoever's behind and going first. So are you both clear on the rules for that?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. With this, we just have our strength shows. Caleb, you are behind, so you will go first. It's just our strength shows, all 6 of them. Are you ready?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Is there a respin on this one, or you just?
Yes, there is. You get 1 respin.
Okay.
Kind of like now.
Yeah.
Spin it again.
Do that.
Case in point.
Cool.
Hey, Boatman, question for you. Do you want to give Jacoby a points record, or do you want to just go 1, 2, and 3?
He's down by 9 points, so
Yep.
he kind of has to go.
2, 4, and 6, Jacoby. We're giving you a points record, buddy.
Caleb Boatman, you've landed on Lost. Are you taking set 1 or set 2?
I don't care. 1, 2, or 2, 4, 6. That one.
Okay, second set.
Points record.
I have the points record. I
I
have it.
want you to make it better.
Your first question for 2 points, and Jacoby, these are stealable. In the episode A Tale of Two Cities, who posted Jack's bail to get him out of jail?
Ooh. Oh.
Amy.
Jacoby, a chance for a 2-point steal.
So if I get this, I win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
get it, and let's do the thing.
The one thing I am not gonna. Because I would have to steal.
Here's the thing. I would have to, in order to beat you, I would have to hit my 6, which I am not going to do. Because I'm going to be 100% with you. I did not.
Jacoby, I'm going to beg you, if you know it, just answer it.
I have to bring respect to this title. I have to take it seriously. I believe it's Sarah.
And your winner, making it 20-9, still your TV champion, Jacoby Bancroft. Great game here by both of these guys, showing they deserve to be on this championship level, more so one over the other, but it is what it is. But let's go to post-match right now. We are back with our defending champion, Jacoby Bancroft. Jacoby, great game today, able to get 20 more points added on to your career total. You already have the championship 5-round matchup at 25 or 26, one of those two. I do believe it's 25. You've defended. You're the first TV champion to defend. How you feeling after this?
I feel good. That was a lot of fun. I was sad that I missed so many lost questions in round 2. That was very disappointing to me. I have to go back and rewatch that whole series over again. But I'm happy to be the first person to defend the TV belts. Playing Boatman is fun. Maybe he'll get back to me sometime because he seems super adamant about it. So we're gonna have. I'm excited. So just to see what comes next.
Yes. I know after our last matchup, I was very bitter for it, but you've won your way to the championship. You were able to retain it. Trust me, Jacoby, I plan on coming back and taking that belt off of you and drinking your tears of sadness.
Bring it on.
Yes, I plan on it and destroying you as you put anime on the wheel just to piss me off. But I won't have to write it. It will be Joe Harrison that writes it. But anyways, congratulations again. We will see you next year as you will have more defenses lined up to defend your title. All right, we are back with our runner-up today, Kaleb Boatman and his manager, Kaleb Koho. Koho, I think this first question is for you more. Okay. As your client who he knows his TV shows, but as this is more like a last division for him because he is more serious with Warzone, with Fandom, and his team there with Scully. I do believe that's still his team partner, right?
No comment at this time.
No comment.
Okay. But with taking all those and then going this far in TV, how do you feel your client will fare in the future with next season, since this is closely around the end of this season?
Yeah. Hey, we were able to compete for the TV title here at Final Order. I think that's huge. And I think that proves that when we get out of our own head and we just show up to things that we're obligated to play, we can actually do way better when we don't think about it. And we got all the way to a title here on the strength of us believing we weren't going to win the match. And every match we played, it was, we don't think we're going to win this, but we're going to show up and just play the thing, pick the things and let's have fun. And every match has come in our favor. And then we played this one, and we played someone that is the best to hold this belt. And I'll say that I've been here since the beginning. I've seen every person ever who's held the TV title hold their belts. Jacoby is by far the scariest one to do it so far. So to go to round 5 with Jacoby at all was the feat here for us. But Boatman will be back for TV as long as he wants to play. As long as he tells me, hey coach, I want to play TV, I'll talk to you. I'll get him matches. We'll do stuff.
I will say too, as this airs with the Final Order,
yes.
Next coming up, of course, will be a chance he could take a chance to get, both of you, to get a number 1 contender's opportunity for next year in the Jim's Choice match. So
yes.
We do have that to look forward to as well.
I got a match that has not happened yet.
The Jim's Choice match is one that I think that both of us, I think me more than Boatman, care about winning. I think Boatman doesn't even. I don't think Boatman gives a shit. I give a shit.
You want to beat Jim. You want to have that over Jim. That's why.
This is the only thing I care about TV. When it comes to TV, I do the same thing as Boatman. I play carefree. I come in. I play it. If I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. That's fine. I just have fun doing it. There's one person in this goddamn league that if they say let's go, I need to beat them, and that's Jim Green. So I want to win this Jim's Choice match. I want to knock out Jim Green, and I want to get my contenders match. That's all I want in life, because I have a deep-seated need to prove that I'm better than Jim Green in absolutely every area of life, because I am, and I know this. Yeah, Jim. Also, that backhanded just smack in your face earlier. Yeah, Jacoby's better than you, and he would knock your ass out if you played for the title today. Anyway, that Jim's match is going to be fun. Boatman and I will be there. Present the counter.
I mean, Boatman just does leave you still pretty high in the rankings. I would probably still say close to where you're at going forward next year. So you will be starting at a very high spot for next year. And I mean, compared to some of the top people that have been close behind you, of course, with Zadius, with Alec Miller, with Joe Harrison. How do you feel your chances are going in next year facing them? Do you still think you'll have that competitive edge that you've shown at the end of this year, facing all those people and beating them?
I'll speak for Boatman here. What competitive edge? We just showed up and played, and that's what our competitive edge is. The amount of apathy we have when we show up, and it's what helps us here. Is just being able to have no pressure in any of these matches. I think we could beat Alec Miller. I'll be honest. I think Alec Miller was pretty lackluster with that title. I think that the best champion pre-Jacoby was Zadius, and we beat him, and that was insane. So I think we could take anyone who's ever held a belt at this point, not named Mr. Bancroft, but maybe we'll see him again. Maybe we'll see him again, Jacoby. We'll see.
We'll have to see going into next year, but
I'll come play you, Jacoby. We'll see. I'll take 6 months off of movies and come play you at TV. We'll see how we do.
You'll have to do a lot of winning for that, Koho.
A lot of winning.
Is Alec Miller just what Alec Baldwin calls himself when he drinks too much and leaves voices on answering machines?
I believe so. But yes, I do need to study for parlay. You're right, Jacoby.
But with that, we'll see you next year, Kaleb Boatman. You do finish strong for the rankings. Kaleb Koho, of course, you'll be with your boy managing him, I imagine.
Always.
And good luck. I hope you have your chance to face Jim Green and stick it to him.
I will.
But this is Jim's choice match, so God only knows what.
Oh, it means it's rigged against me. It means it's rigged against me because he knows I beat him too. It's why he's rigging this whole match against me, guaranteed.
But we'll see how that goes from all of us here. Let's throw it back up to the desk and get us out of here. All right, guys. It was a great matchup here for this great big event. Great TV match. Jacoby able to defend his title, the first champion since the days of Chance Ellison, Jim Green, Zadius Smith, Alec Miller to defend. So good for that. And congratulations. But we'll see all these guys next season. That's it for TV Throwdown. Enjoy the rest of the showing, the matches, what have you. Hopefully the Kingsman loses, but that's just my thought. I want to see everyone but Kaleb Koho be happy. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.